Good morning. Happy Friday. Because I've grown quite the double chin in the last 13 months. My connection is unstable. What's up, Herman? Good morning. So I don't know if I'm frozen right now. Okay, maybe I'm back. The only thing that I really had to touch on today was I found cards at Target. And no, I wasn't actually looking for them. I think I did go in on Friday afternoon, last Friday night, Friday afternoon, or Saturday. Now there's a circle. Yep, I'm just you're just delayed. It should resume. Um, what's up, Brad? So there were like no cards. It was wiped clean. There were a ton of binders and pages and stuff like that. What's up, Craig? But there were no sports cards, I should say. But there were like Pokemon and went in and cards are stocked on typically Fridays. And I don't know, I haven't ever did like the 8 a.m. event because our vendor like stocks still. And he'll do 8. So I'm not like real versed on what things are going. I just kind of read the signs. The sign now says you're limited to one card item. So yesterday I had to go in to get a printer cartridge. And so I walked by, and I always use because there's like the grocery side entrance, and then there's the baseball card. That's what I call it, the baseball entrance. So I always go, and the baseball card entrance is like furthest away. So I always go to that one. And then make my way over to whatever I'm buying. So I use that entrance, and I just and I didn't see anything like off the bat, and I kind of did, I was walking and looking, so obviously I could have missed. So I didn't see anything. So I went back, got my back, and didn't look because there were no like registers open near the card. So I went and I used another I went to the other end where there was a register open, checked out. As I was walking back out to the exit, I looked, and there were cards. They had Diamond Kings, which if I make a trip, which I probably won't, but I would buy. There were Topps, a bunch of like Topps opening day, Topps Heritage. So there's a lot of baseball. Obviously, the good stuff was wiped out. But so I don't know if it had been stocked like earlier in the day, or if it was stocked by if the good stuff is like I think they still do the line, like the online check-in. So I think they still do that here. So that but then they leave other stuff and stock it later, like the Target employees stock. So yeah, there were baseball cards at my Target yesterday afternoon. Not much, but had I seen that as I walked in instead of walking out, I would have picked up a hanger or blaster of Diamond Kings just for the rip. Herman asks, have you ever heard of 72 Topps counterfeits? I have not. I'm sure there are counterfeits out there, but I don't know anything about, but I'm not like a true vintage. Mark would have a better answer. He says, haven't heard of counterfeit 72s, but I'm sure they exist. That's kind of what I was thinking. And Herman says, I got a rose that seems kind of fishy. That would be, if there were counterfeits, I wouldn't be surprised. Pete Rose was a big there were a lot of counterfeit Pete Rose cards in like the 80s. So it wouldn't surprise me if there were some floating out there. And I would say, like, it's weird. Why would they counterfeit a 72 and not a rookie card or a second year card? But it's kind of like, why do they counterfeit $5 bills and not counterfeit $100 bills? because they can slide right past much easier than, you're going to be looking over a $100 bill a lot closer than a $5 bill. Like, you hand a $5 bill to a cashier and they just take it without even looking. But if you hand them a $100 bill, they're going to take that little marker, they're going to put it up to the light, they're going to look at it. So maybe that's why they would counterfeit a 72. Zach is 99% sure he's hitting up the LCS today, buying some 2020 update hangers he has in stock. Porter has a birthday end of the month, combining that with a Series 1 and 2 starter set from the Herminator. Nice. I was thinking about my overpriced former local card shop that has a garage sale is having one of his garage sales this week. He has a great amount of supplies, and they're decent prices. Like, his penny sleeves are still literally a penny. So I picked up like 5 or 6 packs when I was there a couple of weeks ago. He also has the dividers, which are, I have them, these, and I love these. I bought a case of these a couple years ago in my Cubs collection, but bought the standard version, which hide the cards. There's a card behind there. So the reason I want these is so they stick out a little bit. Divider would look like this sitting in a monster box, but I bought the standard where this is what it looks like in the monster box. Yeah, there's a divider there, but there's nothing sticking out at the top. So he did, when I was there a couple weeks ago, he had the tall dividers on a table. So I may buy some of those. And what I like to do is real easy and take them to the card show. And, if I have, I have a bunch of 74 tops going to be in my quarter boxes, and I'll have 1974 tops. And then, if I want to use it for I can peel that off, type a new one out, Andre Dawson, and use it for my Cubs multi-use. So I'm kind of talking myself into it. Now, the more I think about it, I do want to get those for the card show that's coming up in 2 weeks, May 22nd, Madison Sheraton. We had 3 more tables booked this week. We had a run like the week of the show last, pretty close to 20 vendor tables. We were at 23 for the last show. And a lot of those, like I said, on the social media platforms, we'll do some Facebook advertising. We got really good feedback through the Facebook ads last month. So we have not started to do that. Now that we're 2 weeks out, we'll start that campaign. So looking really forward to it. I sleeved up probably 1,500 cards last night. I'll have over 1,000 first Bowman Chromes from the past 5-6 years. A huge stack of 74 Topps baseball. I've got some 74 Topps. Got the Marvel cards. So the quarter. Basically, I want to fill them up like I would want to see. Like, when I go to a card show and flip through quarter boxes, I want to be like, damn, this is a really good quarter box. And I've got a whole stack of cards. So I want the customer at my table to feel like I would at a card show. So let's see. Zach says not yet. Let's see. Herman. Zach says cardboard envelope on top of the box. Rose, a semi-high number, possibly. Okay. So that's about all I had for today. So my hobby weekend, I may run up to the card show garage sale after work today. I doubt I'll check into Target. I don't really need It's funny. The flippers, I'm going to use Ken's term. I'm going to steal Ken's word. Flip vesters. The flip vesters that are camping out at Target have they've been like my nicotine patch. Like, I don't even have the urge to go to Target. Now the only time I go to Target to buy cards is if I'm going to buy a Mother's Day card, which, guys, by the way, Mother's Day is Sunday. So because actually I went to Target, I passed right by the card section. I get home and my wife goes, "Did you buy your mom a Mother's Day card?" Nah, I've got a couple days. So I do have to go back and get a Mother's Day card. So that'll be my excuse to go to the card section. But I don't like back a year ago, even 9 months ago, I would lunch break drive to Target. I'd get scoops. Hey, the vendor's here. And I'd go and I'd get cards or look for cards. But now it's like I don't even have the urge. I don't even message the guys from my area that go to the stores. I just have like no urge. It's like if I don't get it, I don't get it. I really want more Bowman, like Bowman at the retail level, but if I don't get it, hey, I opened 3 hobby boxes. I'm happy. Now, if I didn't get the hobby boxes, I would probably be jonesing for some retail Bowman, but that's not the case. So we'll see. So thanks to the Flip Vesters, I don't waste money on retail anymore. So I now that I say that, I probably will go to Target because I got to get the Mother's Day card. So I'll swing by and George Blade again. And do that. So I'll probably hit the card shop garage sale to get some card dividers. I'll probably get some more penny sleeves. You're asking, why would you need more penny sleeves when you have 30,000 of these? Well, I can probably put together another 30,000 quarter cards, but mainly because these I can only use for my quarter boxes because they're the thick penny sleeves. They don't really fit into a top loader, so that's why I would pick up the regular top loaders and I would use those for cards that I'm putting into top loaders, like my Bowman that I opened. So I've got to get more penny sleeves for some of those cards that I put in these thick top loaders. George said, I said F it and bought into a Bowman case break over here. Got Cardinals and a pick your team. I was looking around for some breaks for Cubs. Haven't got into any. Actually did a lot of eBay searching last night I did a lot of searching for minor league stuff last night. There's one STB Sports is a really great resource if you're into minor league team sets and minor league cards. I ordered, like 40 team sets from them a couple years ago. I received a random. Our company gave out a random like surprise bonus a couple years ago, which was nice. And I'm like, I'm going to use all this toward baseball cards. And I spent most of it at STB Sports and bought just a ton of old minor league sets. So I was actually looking for like 70s Cubs sets, and I'm looking for a really hard time finding what even set. I had no idea it existed. Dan was talking about his project and collecting first year minor league cards or rookie cards of White Sox, and Steve Swisher has a 74 Wichita Arrows card. I didn't know that I didn't know that card existed. I knew there was a 73. I've got that set with Tony La Russa, Paul Russell, but I didn't know there was a 70. But it has like, okay, Cubs team sets or 1971. Here are all the known minor league team sets issues from 1971. Once it gets to 1980, it's pretty easy to find. But going back pre-1980, I know the minor league sets were few and far between. Before the late 70s, but I know they're out there, and I would love to find some type of reference. Mark says Pawtucket Red Sox moved. They had an online auction, bought them all for 50 cents a set. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Be cool if we got him back for a final round. Albert Pujols, yeah, has a Cubs jersey for him, so he may be a Cub. So if you saw the tweet yesterday, I said the Cubs should sign Pujols, and I had the Cubs 5 jersey. So I actually so the backstory on that. I had the Cubs jersey. It's a real Cubs jersey. The Cubs jersey is Nomar Garciaparra. That Nomar jersey, overpaid for it. But when Nomar got traded to the Cubs, I was elated. Like I was on cloud 9. And as soon as I could find one, and I live in a rural area, as soon as I could find one, a Nomar Cubs jersey. And obviously Nomar's Cubs didn't really work out as well as planned. So I still have that jersey. I still have it in my closet. But in like 2007, Mark, do you cringe the way Bo pronounced Nomar's last name? Garciaparra. I always butcher it. So in 2000, what year was it? Like 07? Whenever Pujols was a free agent and signed with the Angels, that was my troll job to all my friends that were Cardinals fans, and taped it over Nomar and taped it over Garciaparra. I had to use a lot of tape to get it over Garciaparra. But that's the backstory. And I actually kept the Pujols. I actually kept it like that for a couple of years. I'm surprised it didn't bleed through, in fact. But I don't think none of it bled through. But that's the backstory. When Pujols was a free agent, I just wanted to jab this jab. Pujols is coming to the Cubs. Because Cardinals fans, they were angry that Pujols was leaving St. Louis. I was shocked. I was actually at the post office yesterday, and then I got a buzz from my phone, and it was Albert Pujols. The Angels have DFA'd Albert Pujols. I'm like, what? That's in his last season? There must have been more to it, and I think there was a story behind it that he was upset he was not in the lineup against Ryan Yarbrough, which he was batting like 4 against Yarbrough, and he was upset he was not in the lineup. So I think there was probably an ultimatum. Dude got paid. I didn't blame him. So I think there's a little more than just the Angels. Oh, you're only hitting 195. Hit the road. I think there was more to it, where Albert was upset by his playing time and wanted out, essentially. So I'm sure in the coming days we'll hear more about it. Mark says Cabrera may be next. You're right. He might be next. Zach says, I hope the Sox steer clear. Yeah, there were some rumblings that he could be reunited in Chicago with Tony La Russa. With the White Sox, they need, with Eloy and Robert being hurt, use somebody. And that's a White Sox move. You look back through the days, Ken Griffey Jr., and now I'm going to forget all the other names, but it seemed like, Manny Ramirez, Jose Canseco, reunion. Yep. TLR and Pujols in Chicago on the South Side. So yeah, I was really surprised by that news. I really like Albert Pujols as a player. Hated him as a Cardinal because I just don't like the Cardinals. We don't need another first base DH who isn't hitting and can't run. I would have to agree with you on that. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Go back further. We picked up a lot of guys at the end. Yeah. I'll have to go back and look that up. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. I can't believe I forgot about this. So yesterday I was going back and I was looking up, I got down the rabbit hole with Ryan Sandberg in the 82 Rookie of the Year voting. And I think there was only one player on the National League list that I had never heard of, Luis De Leon from the San Diego Padres. He was, I think, just ahead of Sandberg in Rookie of the Year voting in 1982. And I'm like, I've never heard of Luis De Leon. So my buddy Tom Peoria sent me a DM last night, and he's like, De Leon actually was a replacement player for the Cubs in 94, 95. I'm like, this is fascinating. So I went down that rabbit hole. So not only was Luis De Leon like a replacement player, he was like a stud in spring training 95. And he was set to be the opening day starter for the 1995 season for the Chicago Cubs. And he was also Roberto Alomar's cousin. And he like there were like he was in the news, he was like in the Chicago Tribune like every day. Like Luis De Leon was like the Chris Bryant of 1995 replacement players. He was the it guy for the, and I had no idea because I wasn't. I actually kind of baseball pre-strike. Like I started following basketball pretty hardcore in 92, 93. So by the strike, like that was just kind of like the nail in the coffin for me. Like I was already not paying attention to baseball, but then when it was taken away for a year, it's like, and then I didn't come back until 98. So I had a bunch of his cards. I pulled him like crazy. So then I was looking, I'm like, oh man, is there any Cubs? So he was actually signed. So the deal was struck. I'm going to have to go back and read more on 94, 95 because either I wasn't following baseball at all or I just like completely brushed it off out of my mind because I don't remember any of it. But I guess the deal to start the 95 season was made like at 11th hour. And it was like hours before the teams were going to make their flights to opening day. Cause I think the Cubs were in Cincinnati. So they were flying from Arizona to Cincinnati, like that day or the next day. So I completely lost my train of thought. So Luis De Leon, was like the top guy, and he was supposed to be the opening day starter in Cincinnati. But the season was like saved at the 11th hour. So I've got to go back and read more into like how that all went down. And so there were some other names like the Cubs had Phil Stevenson, who actually played for the Cubs a little bit. Now I remember the train of thought I was going. So De Leon was actually signed like once the season was saved, and the real players came back. He was signed by the Cubs for the AAA squad, and I didn't look at his stats. I don't know if he pitched for the Iowa Cubs that year, but I did look up team sets. He was not in the 95 Iowa Cubs team set because I was like, oh man, I bet he has an Iowa Cubs card if he was signed by the Iowa Cubs. But then I think I read, later because I was reading like old newspaper clippings, and I think he was in A-ball. So I don't know I don't know how long he made it in AAA. I'll have to look that up. But thanks to Tom for bringing that to my attention. It like out on 94, 95 baseball replacement players. George says, I'm glad I've been buying Pujols recently. Going to start that Hall of Fame countdown clock and drive those prices up. You're exactly right. I actually, upon the news that he was released, I sold a couple Pujols cards out of my eBay store, and they've been trickling out. I had a bunch of like second-year cards of Pujols over the last few weeks that I listed, and they've actually moved pretty swiftly. Probably on your line of thinking, with that Hall of Fame clock at 5+ years, and who knows how long that plus will be there. Well, probably it's probably going to be 5 years at the end of this. Well, we know it's going to be 5 years at the end of the season. So yeah, that clock is beginning to tick. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday. There's Ken. What's up? I get in here and y'all talking about Pujols. Sorry, buddy. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday. On Sunday, I'll be out of town. And then when I come back, we'll be doing the Mother's Day thing at my mother-in-law. So no show Sunday. And then I'll be back 7 a.m. Monday morning. So have a great Friday.